Well, hello, second grade. It's been a little bit of time since I have seen you last, and I've got one more piece about the Shema before we move to the V'ahavta. So this is a little bit of a shorter lesson, but I did get to hear which Shema you liked the best, which of course was Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adon Eh. Now, I want you to turn to page 75 for a second in your Siddur, and I want you to look at the words, the Shema, for a moment. And I want to ask you if you see anything that's funny there. Okay, look at that first line. Do you see anything that is interesting or weird going on? Before we do that, we'll get to the. So I want you to first of all, too. I know we went through this already. I'll get back to it. So let's just look right here. Is there anything that is interesting in the picture of the Shema on page 25? Put your finger, and you're going to notice if you get this correct, you're going to notice that there actually are two strange kind of things. So you're going to need not one finger, but two fingers. Do me a favor and right now point to the two things that are a little strange about the Shema, the way it's written in your Siddur. Okay. And your teacher might go around looking and seeing what people have, because what we're really looking for is, did you notice that when you saw this prayer, did you notice that the way it's written, there are two letters of all the letters here that are a little bit bigger and a little bit bolder? Up, here's one here, an ayin. Here's one here, a dalid. So raise your hand if you got that right. Well done. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Now, first of all, let's just have a little bit of a review here, right? We asked last time this idea, listen, Israel, God, our God, God is one, right? And here was the story, right? Here we have Jacob, whose name is Yisrael after he fights with an angel, right? His name becomes Yisrael. He's nervous about dying, and they say, hey, Dad, we've come to do a little bit of Bikor Cholim, to visit the sick. And wow, how can we help Dad to feel better? Oh, we know Dad is afraid that his God won't be our God, but we better tell him. So here's what we're gonna say, Dad. You were wondering if we were going to stay Jewish. You were wondering if your God was going to stay our God. Well, we just want you to know, Yisrael, that that your God is our God, and that's exactly what the Shema is saying. And we ask this question, right? Why should we say the Shema, and when should we say the Shema, right? Right? And now we are up to looking at these words, and you'll see that these words are bigger. So the question is, why are they so? And actually, I want to show you today that I think it has to do with this story right here. Because, first of all, let's start with the ayin. So in the Shema. So first of all, what is the sound? On three, I'd like everyone to make the sound of the ayin. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Did you make the sound? Did you make the sound? Okay, I'm gonna try it again. 1, 2, 3, go. Teachers, did you hear the sound? Okay, now I'm gonna make the sound of the ayin. Here I go. Let me get ready. Let me drink some tea with lemon and honey, just to make sure I can say it. And here I go. 1, 2, 3. That's right. The ayin has no sound, and we know there's one other letter of the alphabet, Hebrew alphabet, that also doesn't have a sound. Here, as I go through the Shema Yisrael, I'm going to pass over a few of those letters. So when I pass over a letter that makes no sound, raise your hand. Is it that one? No, that makes a sh. Is it this one? No, that makes a m. Is it this one? Oh, there's one. Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Oh, that is. An aleph makes no sound at all. This one, this one, this one. Ah, there it is again. Right? So we have two letters in the alphabet that have the exact same sound. But here is something I want to tell you. Now, the word Shema means to listen. Like, I want to get your attention. Listen up. And when we have all these kids talking, they're saying, listen, Yisrael, Your God is our God. But what if we changed the silent sound of the ayin with an aleph? If I change the aleph with an ayin, there it goes. Oh my goodness. That word is no longer shema, listen. That word now becomes a word that means shema, perhaps, maybe. Well, if I was Yisrael lying in bed, ready to die, and thinking, are my kids going to become, are my kids going to keep on being Jewish after I'm gone? If I had my kids come and say, I know what I'm going to say to my dad to make him feel better. Dad, we might, maybe we're going to be Jewish when you're gone. Is that going to make me, as Yaakov, very happy and be, oh, now I can die in peace? I know my kids are not at all. Oh my goodness, right? That wouldn't be fun at all. Perhaps, Dad, your God and our God are the same God. No way is that going to be a nice thing. That's not going to be comforting at all. My sons do not sound very confident. So, okay, and this is why we want to make sure the ayin is really big to say, this is not Shema. We shouldn't read this as Shema. We should read this as Shema. That sounds much better. Now let's go look at the Dalet. The Dalet doesn't sound like another letter, but it sure does look like another letter. What's that other letter it looks like? Let's see if we have it here. Oh, actually, I see it one time in all the letters here. So raise your hand if you see the letter that looks like a Dalet but isn't a Dalet. Is it this one? 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 Is it? Have you seen it already? I saw it. Everyone see it? Not this one. Not there. It is. That looks a lot like a Dalet. I actually might get them confused a lot. If not for this little thing right here that tells me that's a Dalet, it's not a Resh. But what if you did get confused? And what if instead of a Dalet, up there it is right there, we changed that word and you thought it might have been a Resh? There it goes. We're changing it. Oh my goodness. This word does not now mean achad. This word now means acher. Acher means other. So now just imagine if you were a kid saying, listen, God, listen, Yisrael, God is the God that you believe in and the God that we believe in is other, different, another. We have two different ideas of who God is. Now that's not going to sound good, perhaps. So now you're saying, perhaps, Dad, your God and our God are other gods. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine how Yaakov, whose name is now Israel, is going to feel if the kids say, we know how to comfort him. We're going to walk in and he's afraid of us being Jewish. And we're going to say, hey, Dad, perhaps you and I have other gods. He's going to say, that's exactly what I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that at all. That's not comforting me. I'm going to die very scared that my kids aren't going to be Jewish. I need a much better statement than that. I need to know 100%. I need you to tell me, listen, Dad, your God and our God are the same God. But how do we do that if maybe sometimes we get the ayin and the aleph mixed, and maybe we get the resh and the dalet mixed? I know what to do. Let's make sure we make those two letters really big to make sure we're not saying perhaps God, perhaps Yisrael, perhaps Dad, my God and your God are different. No, we want to say, listen, Yisrael, listen, Dad, your God and our God are the exact same thing, right? So you can see right here. Here we have the this would be the bad one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Acher. Perhaps God, your God, and our God, they're two other gods. That would be very uncomforting. That's why we say really, really boldly, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why often, sometimes you'll even see if people will often, when they say the Shema, they might be really clear on that D. So that's not a R. Echad. And you can do that as well. And when I see you doing that during tefillah time, when you say Echad, I'm going to point to you and give you a big thumbs up because that is completely correct. And when those sons come in, they say Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Then what's Jacob going to say? Oh, I feel so relieved now. I feel like I can die in peace knowing that my love for God will continue into the next generation. And that's it. We are going to come back next time with the Via Hafta prayer. That's it for Tefillah Travels this week.